Welcome to the Wellness Help Desk with your host, Nike Lamodi, certified wellness coach and personal trainer. A wellness podcast focused on providing practical tips on how to curate a healthy lifestyle uniquely for you, where we discuss wellness hot topics with expert guests and have real candid conversations. It's the one-stop shop you need to get the help you've been looking for. Let's dive in. Hey, what's up? And welcome to the Wellness Help Desk. I'm your host, Nike Lamodi, and this is episode 26. So excited to talk about helping you know how to say no so that you can create time for self-care. This is people's biggest obstacle when they say, I don't have time, I have too many things on my calendar, I have so many things I'm committed to. It's because you're not saying no. And if you would just say no, you would instantly have more time to dedicate to plan and show up for yourself so that you can fill your cup up. And so I'm so excited to talk to you about 3 ways that you can say no so that you can start filling your cup up. Before we jump into that, just want to share like a little life update with you all. For the first thing, I've been really dealing with a lot of grief in terms of not just loved ones past, but grieving what I thought my life would look like at 32, grieving missing out on certain opportunities, or it's just been really weird last couple of weeks just reflecting and grieving on these things. And I just want to encourage you, it's okay to grieve things that you thought would be. It's okay to grieve things that were lost, even if they're not a person, even if it was a circumstance or opportunity or a season of life. Grieving is so healthy. So I've just been kind of in this place of honoring my grief, but not letting it keep me in this really closed off space. And that's just been draining. So I'm trying to also interact with more play in my life. And so that helps offset all the energy that goes towards honoring my grief. The other thing is I have a lot of traveling for the last month. I was in Chicago for 2 weeks, and then I just got back from California. I went out to LA to visit my sister and support my friend Shauna. She's a little less toxic on Instagram. She came out with a book, and so I went to her book launch and signing and went to support her. So now I leave for Houston tomorrow to head there for work. So I'll be there for most of the week. And then I'm heading to Gatlinburg to hang out with some of my best girls from college who I cheered with in college. I'm so excited to see them. I laugh till I cry anytime I'm with them. They're just hilarious. So hilarious. I just love them so much. So I'm in full speed trying to support my immune system and make sure that I am getting rest and eating all the great nutritious foods because I am doing so much traveling in different time zones and losing some sleep. So anyway, doing all the things, but that's a little bit of a life update. If you're new here listening to the Wellness Help Desk, thank you so much for being here. I had a lot of new faces join me over on Instagram. And so if you are one of those people, it's nice to have you here over on the podcast. All right, so enough about me. Let's actually jump into today's episode. All right, honest question. How many times have you said yes to everyone this week? Or even today? What about how many times you've said yes to yourself in comparison to that? I know saying yes to everybody but yourself can leave you feeling super exhausted or overwhelmed, overworked, but I really want to offer you a practical tool that will provide more time for you to do something for yourself. And that tool is saying no to other people. That's the tool. And I know that saying no to others can be difficult, and at times you can feel racked with more guilt or more anxiousness at just the thought of saying no. But having a hard time saying no can be riddled with a lot of different reasons as to why it is hard for you. And so it's helpful to spend time uncovering why it's hard for you to say no to people. But on the flip side, you don't want to stay camped out there, right? So many times people camp out in getting to the root of things and they just stay there. And sometimes getting to the root of things like this, you have to go back and visit your past, your childhood. That can be painful. That can be very hard. And so it's not helpful to just stay in the uncovering the why. You want to instead also find some balance between the two. So yes, spend time uncovering the root, but also move forward and practicing the skill of saying no. I know for me, it was really hard to say no because I'm a people pleaser. I don't like people mad at me. I don't like feeling conflict. I didn't want people to think I was selfish. I didn't want to let others down. I wanted to communicate that I love them and could support them and be there for them. And so mine was deeply rooted in people pleasing and not liking the discomfort that came from saying no. But that didn't stop me, which I've grown in the last 2 years. It didn't stop me from moving forward and practicing the skill of saying no. I mean, prime example, today my friend offered me to go and work with her on this event, and it was from 12 to 5. And I wrestled with it, and my people pleasing side really wanted to say yes, but I looked at what I needed to get done before I went out of town. And I was like, there's no way I could do that and all the things I need to get done before leaving. And I said no. And today has been so productive on getting all of that done. Now, had I said yes to her, I would have been at this event so bitter, so resentful, oh my gosh, why is it taking so long? I have so much to do. I don't have time for this. So growing in the skill of saying no is so beneficial. And so I want you to imagine what's on the other side of you saying no to that person or to their request. Because at the end of the day, we think about a lot of times just the negative, how we feel, how hard it is, but we don't consider what positives are on the other side of saying no. I want you to imagine having time to take a bubble bath or join your favorite Zumba class or have an intimate time with your partner, or maybe a moment to just enjoy silence for 30 minutes or enjoying your favorite cup of tea. Honestly, the possibilities are endless when you are using the tool of saying no. So now that we see why it's important to say no and how it can actually benefit you in creating more time for self-care and to fill your cup, here are 3 different ways that you can say no. And you are free to put your own twist on this, do whatever you want, but here at least is a starting point. So the first way, say no with a period. So for example, thank you for considering me, but I'm not able to commit to that at this time. Notice that I just said no, I declined the request, but I didn't offer an explanation as to why I can't commit to this at this time. Remember, you don't have to provide an explanation for your no. And even over explaining, which I've learned from the holistic psychologist on Instagram, is a trauma response. So you don't have to over explain to people why you're saying no, why you're declining their request or communicating that you're not able to help them. The second way you can say no is to provide options, right? Saying no doesn't mean that I can't think of another. The only word that came into my mind at that moment is a B word, but I can't think of another more nicer way to say that. So saying no doesn't have to make you the evil villain. You don't have to be an evil stepmom about it. You can provide options, be very helpful. It's not what you say, but how you're saying it. So for example, with providing options, you can say this: it sounds like you have several things in need of some support. Have you considered doing XYZ? So this provides the person the opportunity to consider other avenues or possibilities to receive the support or get some solutions for the requests that they're making, but outside of you. And so this is you offering your own wisdom or your own experience or your own ideas to how they can get support or solutions to what they're asking of you. And this is you saying, I can't do it, but here, have you considered this? And then they can take that information and do with it what they want. So the third way to say no is make a recommendation. Okay, everyone loves a trustworthy recommendation. So here's an example of this. I'm not able to help out at this time, but there's someone that provides these services or this kind of support. Let me give you their information. Simple, simple, simple. And I want you to not bog yourself down like this has to be some commercial business service that you're recommending or anything like that. Just, is there something that you know of that can directly meet the need that they're requesting? Like it could be an app, right? It doesn't have to be a professional service. It literally can be an app, something that they can go download in the App Store. So really don't bog yourself down in a box of the recommendation just being a professional service. Make that recommendation. So in all of these examples, saying no is a skill, and it's a skill that you have to practice again and again. In the episode where I talked about mindset, fixed and growth mindset, fixed mindset really looks at this as a black and white thing, and I have to get it right the first time. If not, it means I'm never good at saying no. But growth mindset realizes saying no is something that I have to grow a muscle in. I have to take time to build. And the only way to do that is say no over and over and over again. You're going to have to do it more than once to really be at a place where it feels good in your body and you're able to say it confidently. So keep in mind when you say no, the first few times your body may feel uneasy, your chest may feel tight, you may have butterflies in your stomach, but what you should do is just tell yourself, I am safe, I am okay, and then take some deep breaths in your nose, out your mouth, and then follow through on saying no. Then take time to observe what ways you benefited from saying no. Did everything crumble? Did your world fall apart? Like, was it this catastrophic event from you saying no? And I want you to truly answer these questions. Like, I know it sounds so silly me saying them right now, but this is what we do in our brains when we're trying to rationalize why we can't say no to someone or decline a request. And when you're in the moment, when you've said no and you're really evaluating, okay, how did I benefit from saying no? And did my world fall apart? Did everything crumble? And you really answer no, then your brain is grounding in the fact that actually we're okay. And so the next time you come face with saying no, your brain remembers the evidence of no, remember last time our world didn't crumble, things didn't fall apart. And so as you start to reap the benefits that come from saying no, you'll soon see just how empowering it is to trust yourself in this way, to trust that, no, I know what I have capacity for. And I know that right now, mentally or emotionally or physically, I cannot show up in this way. I need to say no. I need to decline this person's request, or I need to say no to this person. And in that, you start to free up your mental capacity and also your time to dedicate to self-care activities, whether that's going to therapy, going to work out, cooking a new meal at home, whatever that is for you that fills your cup, that meets a need, you're able to do that because you now have said no, which presented more time for you to do those things. And so I want you to imagine how much more time and opportunity will open up for you to make yourself a priority as you develop the skill of saying no. More time and more capacity for you to do things that add to your cup, that fill your cup up. And we do this very work in the intermission. The intermission is my signature wellness program for burnt out moms. And we work on making you a priority no matter the season of life that you're in so that you can show up as the desired role model for your kids. You show your kids what it looks like to take care of you in times of stress. You show your kids what it looks like to implement boundaries. You show your kids what it looks like to process emotion in a healthy way. And so if you know that's what I need, I am ready to do that and show up and be a priority for myself, schedule a consultation via the link in the show notes to learn how I can directly help you. Remember, saying no is a skill, but it's a skill that's worth taking time to develop because it directly will impact how you show up for yourself. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening in. If you enjoyed the episode today, head over and leave me a review. This helps others find the podcast and be one step closer to curating their healthy lifestyle. Come connect with me over on Instagram at Nike_Lamodi. And if social isn't your thing, Join my beautiful newsletter community via the link in the show notes. To learn more about exclusive one-on-one wellness coaching, head over to randaywellness.com. As always, remember to give yourself grace.